Imagine this. You step off the plane at JFK after visiting family back home for 5 months. You've done this trip before. You feel calm because you have what you believe is the strongest document you can have short of a U.S. passport, your green card. You walk up to the CBP officer and hand it over. He scans it. The screen changes. He looks up at you and says, "Step aside, please." Your heart drops. Another officer walks over holding a device and says, "Face the camera, don't move." Click. Your photo is taken. And in that moment, most green card holders don't realize what's happening. This isn't just a random photo. It's part of a biometric entry-exit system that has become much more widespread at U.S. airports, and it makes it easier for the government to see exactly how long you were outside the United States. And here's the part that can wreck people's lives. Once the officer believes you've been outside too long, one wrong answer in the next few minutes can put your green card at risk before you even reach baggage claim. My name is Asad, and this is Immigration Newsroom. Today I'm going to break down what's really happening at U.S. airports with biometrics, why lawful permanent residents are getting pulled into secondary inspection more often after long trips, the biggest mistakes people make when they start talking, and the exact safe approach, what to say, what not to say, and what documents you should carry if you've been abroad for months. Important note before we begin. This is general information, not legal advice. Every case is different. If you've been outside the U.S. for a long period or you've had multiple long trips, talk to a qualified immigration attorney before traveling. Now let's talk about what changed, because people hear new biometric rules and assume something totally new started overnight. The reality is that CBP has been building out biometric entry-exit systems for years, especially facial recognition at many airports. What's changing isn't only the technology, it's how consistently it's being used, how connected the data is across systems, and how quickly officers can see your travel timeline. In plain English, the government has a clearer picture than ever of when you left and when you returned. That matters for everyone. But it matters most for green card holders because permanent resident status is based on the idea that the United States is your primary home. If you stay outside too long, or if your life looks like it moved abroad, you can be accused of abandoning residency. And there's a key legal trigger most people don't know. Under U.S. immigration law, a lawful permanent resident who has been outside the United States for more than 180 days can be treated as someone seeking admission when they return. That doesn't mean you automatically lose your green card. It does mean the officer has more authority to question you and scrutinize whether you're still truly residing in the U.S. So when you return after 6 months, or even close to it, your inspection is different than someone who took a 2-week vacation. Now here's what's happening at airports right now. A green card holder returns after a long trip. Maybe they were caring for a sick parent. Maybe they were handling family obligations. Maybe they were stuck longer than expected. Maybe they thought, "I'm a permanent resident. I can travel." They hand over the green card. The officer scans it. The system shows a long absence. The officer starts asking questions like, "How long were you outside the United States? Why were you gone so long? Where do you live in the U.S.? Do you work here? Do you pay taxes here? Are you moving back now or just visiting?" And this is where most people destroy themselves without realizing it. They panic. They over-explain. They start telling long emotional stories. And I know why they do it. They're trying to sound innocent. They're trying to sound human. But the officer is not collecting your emotions. The officer is collecting facts. Facts that can be written down and used to build a conclusion about whether the U.S. is your real home. Here's what over-talking looks like at the airport. "Oh, my mother was sick, so I had to stay. I was taking care of business back home. I don't really have work right now, but I'll find something. I'm thinking of staying with family for a while. I didn't know there was a rule." To you, that sounds like normal life. To an officer making a legal decision, it can sound like your strongest ties are outside the U.S. Your job and home base are not stable in the U.S. You don't understand permanent resident obligations. You may be using the green card as a travel document, not as a residence. So the first rule is simple. Don't talk yourself into a problem. Now, here's the part that most green card holders don't understand, and it's your legal shield. A long trip alone does not automatically equal abandonment. Abandonment is assessed under what many lawyers describe as a totality of the circumstances approach. The government looks at the whole picture. Do you have a home in the U.S.? Do you have a job in the U.S. or ongoing employment ties? Do you file U.S. taxes as a resident? Do your spouse and children live here? Do you have U.S. bank accounts, a driver's license, insurance, ongoing bills? Was the trip temporary and clearly connected to an event or necessity? Did you intend to return to the U.S. as your primary home? This is why some people are gone 5 or 6 months and return with no issues, because their U.S. life looks strong and continuous. And this is why some people are gone even less than 6 months and still get hammered, because their life looks like it moved abroad. Now, what should you do at the airport? Here's the safe approach. I'm not going to tell you to argue. I'm not going to tell you to refuse basic questions. And I'm definitely not going to tell you to lie. The goal is truthful, short, consistent answers, without volunteering extra details that create confusion. Think of it like this. You're not giving a speech. You're confirming that the U.S. is your residence. So if the officer asks, "How long were you gone?" answer the number clearly. Don't guess. Don't maybe. If you don't know, check your travel records on your phone or passport stamps. If the officer asks, "Why were you gone so long?" A safe structure is, "I was visiting family for a temporary situation. My home is in the United States, and I'm returning to it now." That's not magic. It's just the legal point. Your intent and your residence are in the U.S. If the officer asks, "Where do you live?" give your U.S. address. If the officer asks, "Do you work here?" answer truthfully, but don't overtalk. If you're employed, say where. If you're not employed, be careful, because unemployed plus long absence can increase suspicion. If you're in between jobs, you may want to frame it truthfully but responsibly. I live in the U.S. and I'm actively employed, returning to my U.S. job if true, or I'm returning to my U.S. residence and have ongoing ties here if you don't want to create a bigger issue. If you're unsure, this is exactly where an attorney consult before travel helps. Now here's a major warning. If the officer sends you to secondary inspection, stay calm. Secondary does not automatically mean you lost. It means they want time and documentation. In secondary inspection, one of the most dangerous moments is when they present a form and tell you to sign it. The form people talk about most is Form I-407, which is a record of abandonment of lawful permanent resident status. If you sign it, you may be giving up your green card voluntarily. So your rule is, do not sign anything you do not understand, and do not sign away your status because you feel pressured or exhausted. A safe sentence in secondary is, "I do not wish to abandon my lawful permanent resident status. I would like to speak with an attorney before signing any documents." Now, will CBP always let you call a lawyer immediately? Not always. Border situations are different from criminal interrogations on TV, but stating clearly that you do not want to abandon status is important. And if CBP believes you may have abandoned residency, you generally have the right to have the matter decided by an immigration judge in removal proceedings rather than giving up on the spot. So another key sentence is, "I request a hearing before an immigration judge." Now let's talk about preparation, because preparation is what prevents the red screen moment from turning into a disaster. If you have been outside the U.S. for more than about 4 months, you should travel back like you might need to prove your ties. Carry evidence such as proof of U.S. residence, lease, mortgage statement, property tax bill, proof of U.S. employment or job offer return letter, recent pay stubs if you have them, proof you file U.S. taxes as a resident, tax transcript or recent return, U.S. bank activity, credit card statements, utility bills. If the trip was for a family emergency, carry supporting documents, doctor letter, hospital records, funeral documents. Not because you're guilty, because you want your story to be easy to verify. Now, what if you know ahead of time you might be gone a long time? This is where many people make the biggest mistake of all. They leave first and ask questions later. If you believe you may be outside the U.S. for a year or more, talk to an immigration attorney before traveling about a war entry permit. Form I-131. It's not a perfect shield, but it can significantly reduce abandonment risk when used properly. and it is something you generally must apply for while you are still in the United States. Now, I want to address one last mindset that can hurt you. Some green card holders say, "I'll just avoid travel." Problem solved. That works until life happens. A parent gets sick, a funeral, a wedding, a crisis. Then you travel under pressure, stay longer than planned, and return unprepared. The system doesn't care about your stress. It cares about your record and your ties. So don't wait until you're standing in front of CBP with your stomach in knots. Know the rules. Plan your trip. Protect your ties. Carry your documents. And keep your answers short and consistent. If this video helped you, share it with one green card holder who travels often, because one airport mistake can undo years of work. Subscribe to FIDE, Immigration Newsroom, for updates on travel rules, green card risks, and how to protect yourself at the border, without panic, without rumors, just clear information. And comment below, have you ever been sent to secondary inspection as a green card holder, and what did they ask you? Your experience can help someone else prepare. General information only, not legal advice. If you've had long absences, multiple long trips, or any prior immigration or criminal issues, consult a qualified immigration attorney before you travel.